Imagine walking to a room full of teenagers where everyone is completely silent. No one is making eye contact, no one is laughing. Instead, everyone is just staring down at a glowing screen while experiencing unprecedented, recording breaking levels of anxiety, loneliness, and self doubt. This isn't some new sci fi movie or dystopian. This is the daily reality of our teenagers and 90% of the youth who are constantly plugged into social media. While these platforms consistently promise to bring us closer, the reality is so much darker. Social media operates a physiological toxin that severely degrades the mental health, fractures the self esteem, and destroys the sleep hygiene of today's youth. It is a crisis that requires us to establish urgent digital boundaries. As a student navigating this digital age myself, I saw all these impacts every single day and I still see it. But this isn't about my personal observations. After doing a lot of research and looking at current clinical psychological literature, including major reports from the United States Surgeon General, I have come to just now realize how deep this really is, and it goes beyond my personal observations. Most of us in this room open the app the second we wake up. Not just it could be any app, but even if you feel like you have a handle over your digital habits, someone you care about, whether it's a sibling, a close friend, or even your future child, is actively vulnerable to these physical harms right now. To fully understand the scope of this issue, we need to take a closer look at these three major areas. Today, we're going to talk about how social media fuels a massive crisis in adolescent mental health, how it destroys a healthy body image through unrealistic comparison, not just body images, but also your face, just all physical images wise, and how it physically disrupts the essential sleep of cognitive development. Let's begin with let's begin with this. Actually, let's not. Social media has become a huge part of our daily lives, but it can seriously affect young people's mental health. In fact, according to the U.S. General Surgeon, who I first mentioned in the intro, teens who spend more time than 3 hours a day on social media are about twice as likely to experience symptoms of anxiety and depression. That is a pretty scary statistic if we think about it. One reason this happens is because social media is designed to keep us coming back. Every like, comment, or notifications gives our brain a small reward, dopamine, making us want more. Over time, many teens start depending on that online validation to feel good about themselves. Another problem is that spending hours scrolling often replaces real-life conversations and friendships. While texting and posting can help us stay connected, they can't replace spending time with people face-to-face. Those real-life relationships are some of the biggest factors in protecting our mental health and helping it. Now that we've talked about how social media can affect the mental health process, let's look at how it changes the way young people see themselves. Social media has a huge impact on body image and self-esteem. A 2024 review published in an essay by PubMed Central found that image-focused apps like Instagram and TikTok are linked to higher levels of body dissatisfaction and unhealthy eating behaviors among teenagers. The problem is that what we see online usually isn't real. Most photos are edited, filtered, and carefully chosen on only the best moments. When teens compare themselves to the unrealistic images, it is easy to feel like they aren't good enough. On top of that, cyberbullying is the biggest issue right now. People often feel more comfortable saying hurtful things online than they would in person. Negative comments and body shaming can have a lasting effect on a teenager's confidence and self-worth. Our last point to talk about is sleep. Many teens stay up late scrolling through social media, and I think every person has. I'm sure most of us have said just 5 more minutes and then looked up to realize an hour has gone by or even more. Using our phones before bed makes it harder to fall asleep because the blue light from our screens reduces the amount of melatonin our body can produce. Melatonin is the hormone that helps us sleep. While teenagers don't get enough sleep, it affects much more than just feeling tired. It becomes harder to focus in school, remember information, make good decisions, and manage emotions. Since teenagers' brains are still developing, getting enough sleep is incredibly important. In conclusion, social media isn't bad at all, but using too much of it can have serious consequences, especially at a young age. Today we talked about how it can increase anxiety and depression and lower self-esteem through unhealthy comparisons, and reduce the amount of sleep teenagers need for healthy brain development. The next time we pick up our phones, it's worth asking ourselves if social media is hurting us or helping us.